When is it the right time to drop your child's midday sleep? Today I'm going to be sharing what science says in regards to dropping it and how to encourage it for as long as you can. If this sounds interesting, stay tuned for today's video. Give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell, and let's get into it. Hey, I'm back and welcome back to the Rashidies. Today we're talking about midday sleeps, and this is something that I know my friends and I talk about a lot because my kids still nap even though they're older. I know for both the boys and the girls, there has been a time when they're around about 2 or 3 where they start to flex that muscle of independence and make it a little bit more difficult to have their midday sleep, but it doesn't mean that they don't need it. And that's the reason why today I am sharing 4 ways that I have encouraged midday sleeps to still exist. And I'm also going to share the science on when is the ideal time to actually drop that sleep. There is so much research out there based on sleep, specifically in children. I know that when my kids were babies, I researched to the nth degree on sleep cycles and how to make a good sleeping environment because my children didn't show tired cues. They just needed to be in a good sleep routine. Children between the ages of 1 to 2 should be ideally sleeping between 11 and 14 hours a day, which includes a midday sleep. Children who are between the ages of 3 to 5 should be getting between 10 and 13 hours a day of sleep. And they're saying by the time that your child is 5, that midday sleep should become optional, which works ideally in the Australian school setting. When our children are around 5, some of them are looking at going to prep, in which case they're not able to have a midday sleep anymore. Then the Australian Education Centre of Research recommends for children ages 6 and older that obviously sleeping at midday isn't going to be a thing. However, it is beneficial. I know here in the Rashidi household, if our older kids are getting a little bit emotional over small things and they're not able to regulate themselves correctly, we are definitely going to say it's quiet time. 9 times out of 10, they end up having a little nap anyway. All of this is really interesting because even as parents, Mick and I still really enjoy a good midday sleep. We are exhausted from regulating our kids 24/7, that having that bonus sleep time, even if it's for an hour in the middle of the day, we welcome it with open arms. The Sleep Health Foundation has done research and it shows that it enhances cognitive development when your child takes regular midday sleeps. And that's because it's going to help them with their memory retention, their ability to problem solve, and emotional regulation. I know I've seen it firsthand in my own children, but after they've had a sleep, it reduces that sleep depth that is happening in their body. And it means that they're going to be able to stay calm, to stay focused, and that they're just going to be able to socially engage after rest time because it's like they've rebooted for the afternoon. If your children are falling between the ages of 1 to 5 and you really are still trying to keep them in that midday sleep, but they are fighting you tooth and nail for it, and you want to continue this because you as a parent know that it's beneficial for them, but you also may want that good quality quiet time in your house, then here are my top 3 ways of getting your kids to sleep. The Australian Sleep Association has done research into why darkened rooms are ideal for children who are needing that midday sleep or sleep in general, and it's because it's going to help with the melatonin production, which is going to help them to not only fall asleep faster but have better quality of sleep. Now this is a hot topic, especially when I'm chatting with my fellow mom friends about, well, how do you darken a room? There are so many options available. We always want to find the cheapest option that is going to work the best. I have tried blackout curtains with my girls and it has worked a treat because they didn't really push the boundaries. So the blackout curtains were ideal to alleviate the light that was coming through the sides of the curtains. We just used a little bit of tape because we had moved in the process, so we just used a bit of that and that seemed to do the trick. However, with my sons, that was not a sustainable option for us. I don't know if raising sons and daughters is different. I'm definitely finding my experience to be that. And my son would open the curtains in the morning. So having blackout curtains didn't really make a difference and he ended up waking up his brother. So I needed to think of another way to try and encourage rest at sleep time. Now I'm super thankful because Bunnings actually has a blackout laminate film that you can put onto your windows, and this has been an absolute game changer. Not only is it cheap, we spent $30 for 3 rolls, so it's roughly $10 a roll, but because he can't open a window, then it means that that room is going to be extremely dark. But if you're able to, or maybe you have children who like to test the boundaries, I highly recommend going to Bunnings and getting some blackout window film. It is an absolute game changer, and now that we're heading into summer, it's actually keeping the boys' room really cool because it's keeping the heat out. My second tip is white noise, or some sort of noise that is going to help your child to just relax and get into a really good sleep pattern. Murdoch Children's Research Institute has done some research into white noise and whether it is beneficial. I know that some people can be 50-50 on it. Here in the Rashidi household, we definitely use it. I've also looked into the fact that brown noise can help with ADHD minds just to soothe and settle them, but white noise has proven to do the same. It also helps your child to get into that sleeping rhythm quicker than if they are just in a quiet room. Soothing the mind is going to help them to just get into a good breathing pattern so that they can get into their sleep routine. We've also found by having white noise in the kids' rooms, it's going to reduce the ability to get startled from noises that are occurring around the house. And by having that consistent white noise, it's also going to help them to have longer sleeps because their environment isn't changing around them. They've got that darkened room and the constant white noise. There is really nothing to wake them out of their sleep cycles, and it's going to help them to link their sleep cycles, which is really important. Now, just a quick note about sleep cycles. This was a complete game changer when I discovered this. A normal child sleep cycle is about 40 minutes. Sometimes our children can wake up around 20, and it's really important when they are babies and in that first year that you help them to link their sleep cycles up so that they get the full 40 minutes. I know here in the Rashidi household, an hour 20 is ideal for sleeping, but sometimes our kids also like to sleep for 2 hours. We give and take, but in the sleep training phase of their life, we definitely looked into sleep cycles and monitored how long they were sleeping, so that way if we needed to assist them to link their cycles up, we could do that, and it has paid off in dividends because now our kids are fantastic sleepers. And the third tip is obviously to have a good routine. We try and keep a window between midday and 1 o'clock as our sleeping time. We understand that life is going to be busy and we're not necessarily going to get our kids to bed at the same time every single day. It was a little bit easier when I was a stay-at-home mom, but because our weekends are becoming a little bit busier because we have older kids, then we're just going to have a sleep window. For us, it's between 12 o'clock and 1 p.m. and we generally hit this time pretty well. We have a routine just like we do with our bedtime routine. We have a similar routine for our midday sleep, and this once again gives your child those sleep cue signs that it is ready to just settle down, wind down, and get ready to just rest their bodies and their minds so they can go off to sleep. One thing that I'm also really mindful of in our wind down routine is the smells. I know for me personally, my pillow definitely has a lovely comforting smell, and my kids have their comforters still that they love to sniff, and it has that smell. I try to make sure that throughout the day their room is getting sunshine so it feels fresh, and that smell of sunshine is just so comforting. I really love it. And if their room is starting to smell differently, or maybe we've changed one of the baby's bottoms and so there's that poop smell, then I am going to spray the room to make sure that that deodorizes that stinky smell so that it's a place that they want to be in and that they can relax and calm themselves into it. Now, I know researchers say to look out for the tired cues. My kids have never done them ever. We have children who have FOMO, so if they have a fear of missing out and they think that something's happening and they want to be a part of it, then they're not going to go to sleep. So we have really made sure that our routine is what is predictable and that their bodies are just getting into that routine. They know what it's expected. They're not going to get frustrated or angry at us because all of a sudden we're telling them to go to bed. Predictability is key. It's security. It's comfort for our kids. And so that's how we keep our midday sleeps. And we find that yes, it is beneficial for them, their development, their cognitive, their physical, emotional, all of that stuff. It's also so beneficial for us because as parents, we need that downtime where auditory becomes quieter. We're not in physical demand all the time. We as parents are not having to problem solve all the time. It gives me the freedom to film videos like this because my kids are currently sleeping or resting. And it's just something that is worth the fight for, but you don't have to fight your kid over it. By creating these 3 simple changes in your child's sleeping environment and their routine, it will absolutely be beneficial. Now, as a mum of 4 kids, I know that every child is different and what will work with one kid is not necessarily going to work with the other. However, we have always done positive reinforcement, and for some of our kids, we have had to use that motivation of like, well, if you have sleep time, when you wake up, you'll have a treat. And that could be like an ice block, or it could be their favorite bag of chips, or maybe you're going to take them out to the park. Whatever the motivation they need, it is perfectly fine to do it. I know when I've talked with our child psychologist, she said it's better to entice with a carrot than a stick. If you're feeling like it does need a little bit more encouragement to get your child to sleep, and they have the ability to do that logical reasoning, then definitely give them some incentive to continue their midday sleep, because you can see that the science says that until the age of 5, it really is recommended that they have that downtime, not only to help them develop cognitively, but also emotional regulation. If you've liked today's video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and tap that bell, because this parenting gig doesn't come with a rulebook. We only have each other. And here on the end screen, I've left 2 more videos just for you, so keep on watching.